Good afternoon, everyone. We're an Australian company, and we are, our vision is to be one of the largest producers of high purity alumina. And just to explain, who knows, as you know, carbon forms diamond, what forms alumina? What forms sapphire? Any idea? It's actually alumina. So alumina forms sapphire under intense pressure and heat. Now, sapphire has a hardness index of 9 compared to diamond, who has a hardness index of 10, so nearly as hard as diamond. And the only reason the colour of sapphire is blue is because of impurities like iron and chromium in the alumina that creates the blue colour. But today, if you want to make synthetic sapphire for your watch face, you don't actually want a blue tinge on your watch. So you actually have to start off with a high purity alumina. And this material that we want to produce is 99.99%. It is comparable to the smelter grade alumina, but it has another 2 nines. But the price of this material, instead of $400 a tonne of smelter grade alumina, it's worth $27,000 a tonne. So it's a high value material. And this is typical of high purity materials. As you go up in the quality, the price is exponential. The way they make synthetic sapphire today is basically they buy high purity alumina, they stick it in the furnace, heat it up to 2,000 degrees. It's nearly as hot as the sun. Alumina melts, and they cool it over 21 days and grow a single crystal of sapphire. That's what it looks like, a big ice block. Nearly as hard as diamond, and the only way they can core it out is using diamond cores, and from that they slice it up to make sapphire wafers. Now the sapphire wafer is the building blocks of the LED industry. So in order to make an LED you need a substrate, and they use a sapphire substrate, put some electronics on it, some chemicals, and that sandwich is a semiconductor. And what they found with this semiconductor is that when you apply electricity to it, it produces light photons. And suddenly they said, this is the lighting system of the future. Why? Because 90% of the energy you put to an LED produces light. Where in the old days, the globes, 90% of your energy is actually wasted as heat. The other application is in the lithium battery industry. So who's heard of the Samsung battery fires, right? The reason a lithium battery catches a light is the plastic separator between the positive and the negative terminals. And that catches the light. So now they're spraying high purity alumina in these separators to make them more fire retardant. So two main applications from our business is basically LED sector and also the lithium battery. They're now applying sapphire to your smartphones. They're applying sapphire to your camera lens on your iPhones, and some brands like Vertu, Cryo have already gone to full sapphire screens. So the question is, how hard is this sapphire material? This is the watch of the glass face of Apple Watch, and this is going through a very complicated scratch test here. So the reason it doesn't scratch is because your drill bit has a hardness of 6 or 7. The sapphire glass is actually a hardness of 9. So most of the gentlemen will have sapphire watch faces. Go home, try that with a drill. If it actually goes through and you start bleeding, then you haven't got sapphire glass. The whole market for us is only about 25,000 tonnes per annum, but it's growing at about 16% year on year. So a very fast growing sector. And this is the growth curve, something like 25, expected to be at about 86,000 tonnes per annum. The whole demand is basically around the Asia Pacific region. That's where you expect, because most of the electronic manufacturing is. So let's look at the current producers. There are chemical companies like Sumitomo, Sasol, which is a South African company. Now, typical of the chemical companies, they tend to buy their feedstock, produce a chemical. Now, the way they make high purity alumina, or 99.99% alumina, is they have to use aluminium metal. Okay? They can't use the smelter grade alumina because it has too much sodium in it. So they use aluminium metal, they dissolve it down, and they make high purity alumina. But when you think about it, where does the aluminium metal comes from? It comes from alumina. So it sort of doesn't make sense. The bauxite process, they make aluminium metal, and then they go back to the alumina. So the question is that if you can come up with a technology that bypasses the aluminium metal stage, you will be super competitive. And basically we are the disruptive technology. We are taking the ore to the 4 nines in one single step, bypassing the aluminium metal stage. And the only reason we can do that is because we use a kaolin deposit rather than a bauxite deposit. Now, as you know, kaolin, it's a white material. It's got very low impurities because it's been leached out over millions of years. We have this deposit in Western Australia. We happen to have 250-year mine life, so plenty of ore. We intend to ship this material to a processing plant in Malaysia. Now, the reason we selected Malaysia is because of operating costs and it's very close to the Asia-Pacific region. Okay, the work started in 2011. This is the plant we want to build, 4,500 tonnes per annum. It happened to cost about 298 million, but the NPV for this project is a massive $500 million. The internal rate of return is 22%. It generates around 76 million net cash at its full rate. So it's a high value, high margin product. The capital cost, as I said, is 298 million. The operating cost is about $10,000 a tonne, and we sell this for $27,000 a tonne. So the margin is something like 65% gross margin. Now today the price is worth $40 a tonne, and if you plug that into the model, it gives you an NPV of about $1 billion. So it's a high value project. We are half the cost of our competitors. We have an offtake signed by Mitsubishi, so Mitsubishi will take all our product for 10 years, and we are in the funding stage. We're accessing about 185 million from a German bank called KfW Apex Bank, and of which 165 million is export credit finance. So what that means is that it's very low interest rate, long tenure, and the reason for that is because we happen to use 50% of German equipment, and in fact even our EPC contractor is also a German company. Now the best part of this deal is that they will give us a fixed price lump sum contract. They will guarantee the throughput and the quality of the product supplying to Mitsubishi. So we're in the final stages. We're waiting for the decision by the German government on the 14th of December. This is an event investment. We're very confident that we will get that. And recently we raised 17 million. SMS, who's our EPC contractor, will also support the project equity stage. This is our market cap over the last 3 years. We started at 7 million as market cap. Today we're 60 million. We'll continue to grow. We're developing lots of liquidity. Our shareholder base is growing very strongly. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time.